Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Guilds of Ravnica Draft video here on the channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. Before I begin, I have a couple of updates. First of all, if you enjoy the video, be sure to click that thumbs up and subscribe to get updates for whenever I post new content. And as an additional incentive to click the thumbs up button, I am going to be doing a special video. If this one makes it to 75 thumbs up, I will be forcing a non-Guilds of Ravnica guild, so maybe I'll force blue-white. There's 5 guilds that aren't in Guilds of Ravnica. There's Simic, Azorius, there's a bunch of guilds, there's 5 of them that aren't in Guilds of Ravnica, so I'm going to be forcing one of those if this one gets to 75 thumbs up, and be sure to leave in the comment section down below which guild you'd like to see me force, and I might end up forcing all 5 at some point if I want more thumbs up incentive videos. Also, if you want to catch me streaming live, you can find me on twitch.tv/NicolaiBolas, but, I mean, yeah. Without further ado, let's get into the pack. I mean, this pack was really easy. That's why I spent so long on updates. This card is a bomb. You just 3 bodies. All your guys get +1/+1. It's just a great card. Easily the best card in the pack. We're going to be using the drafting strategy I have not patented, but my personal draft strategy. And I'm also going to be a lot more analytical in this draft video than I have been in the past because I think I have been a bit lax. So the reason this card's good is because it's just like it makes it makes 5 power worth of creatures and 8 toughness worth of creatures for 1 card, only 5 mana, and it buffs your entire team, so it can be even bigger than that. It's just like a must-kill threat. The second clause isn't super relevant, but it's just a great card. The strategy I'm going to be using is I'm going to be drafting the best card out of every pack, regardless of color, regardless of the cards I already have, because in Guilds of Ravnica, finding the open color combination is so good that it's worth taking a bit of a risk. I don't think Pelt Collector is great and limited. It's just not a good top deck later in the game, and it's hard to facilitate early. Centaur Peacemaker is fine. Board stalls favor Selesnya, so gaining the life is quite relevant. However, Deadweight is just a premium removal, like not premium, but it's a very good removal spell. So I'm going to be taking the Deadweight here. And you might be, oh, but you already have the Dristani Discord, and why don't you take the further Selesnya card or even just a green card? The reason I'm taking the Deadweight here is because if green-white is not open, I'm already starting to find like feelers into another color. Deadweight kills a lot of the relevant threats in the format. It can shrink some of their important flyers, and overall is just a very important card in the set. So I'm pretty happy to pick one up here. If the best card in the pack had been Selesnya, I would have taken it. I don't think the Centaur Peacemaker is an insane priority. Gaining 4 life for each player is actually benefit to the Selesnya deck because they do tend to have a better late game thanks to the token makers that they have at uncommon, and even their guild mage makes a token. And they also have a bunch of big creatures. So they have a very good late game in Selesnya, so you really do want to prioritize creatures. Like the 3 mana gain 4 for each player really does favor the Selesnya player. It's a great blocker, great attacker. Let's look at this pack. Nightveil Predator is definitely the best card in this pack. Flying and Death Touch is nice, but the real key here is it's got hexproof. So if you're against another control deck, they basically can't beat this card if you have a reasonable board presence. Other cards to look at in this pack, Darkblade Agent is quite nice. Gaining, like, if you have Instant Speed Surveil, it is really nice to get that going. But Nightveil Predator is definitely the best card in the pack. It's just basically a win con all on its own and really hard to interact with. After that, Darkblade Agent is the next best card in the pack because gaining, like, it's just kind of a threat of activation thing. They kind of have to leave back a couple blockers because they don't want you to be able to draw that extra card because then you're just getting insurmountable value and it slowly builds up over time. This pack here, Creeping Chill is unplayable. The reason it just doesn't affect the board and draining them for 3 life doesn't do enough. You will like occasionally surveil it into your graveyard, but in limited, you're not going to have enough surveil to consistently do that. So I don't think it's worth a pick here. The best 2 cards in the pack are Direct Current. This is an incredible common. Dealing 2 for 3 mana might not seem good, but the fact that you can do it twice, you can pitch this to other things, makes it quite nice, quite strong. So I do like Direct Current. Gargoyle Gatekeeper is another interesting card. It's not insane, but in the right deck, it can definitely do work. If you have about 3 Guild Gates, you'll want to play this because that gives you a decent odds of having one by the time you have 6 lands in play. However, we're just going to take the Direct Current. You might think, but you don't have a single red card. As I said before, I'm just taking the best card, getting feelers into all the colors. I don't really care about that as much. Even though the Gargoyle is colorless, I don't really mind taking cards that are a variety of colors, because if I do find the open color combination, I'm going to be rolling in the playables, as they say. So that's just my unique take on the strategy. Chance for Glory is an unplayable rare. You have to be in a very specific situation for this to be game-winning, and that situation does not come up all that much. Might of the Masses is a fine card in Selesnya. It's not a huge priority. I think I'd usually rather have +2/+2 because when you have a ton of creatures on the board, you're usually already winning as Selesnya. Sure Strike is always pretty solid. I think people always kind of underrate it, but it's always pretty nice. It helps your creatures. Like if you have a big creature, it helps them trade in combat. But this pack really doesn't have a ton for me. I think Spinal Centipede is the best card in the pack. I just really like this. It's a solid 3-drop. It can buff your flyer. It's really good buffing a Nightbill Predator. It just buffs any of your creatures. Yeah, I obviously don't have time to talk about every single card in every pack, but Spinal Centipede, I really like this card. As just, if you can get a 2-drop down and then you play the Spinal Centipede and then you trade, you get pretty nice value onto your creature. Your creature becomes a lot bigger. So like, for example, if you played a Whispering Snitch and then a Spinal Centipede and then your Spinal Centipede traded off, you now have a 2/4, which is a pretty imposing presence on the battlefield. Looking at this pack, the best card is probably Dimir Informant or Whispering Snitch, based on your curve and your specific deck a lot of the time. Whispering Snitch can be mediocre at times, but the life gain is definitely quite nice. So I think I'm going to take it over the Dimir Informant. Getting good 2-drops is a priority for Dimir, and it looks like that's the open color combination that I'm seeing. After that, I would take the Dimir Informant, so yeah, that's where it looks like I'm at. Ooh, and I get to talk about one of my favorite cards in the set, Passwall Adept. Passwall Adept just does so much in this set. It's a 2-drop that can block against the aggressive decks, but it also can give you unblockable, like it can also be a win con on its own, and it's only a 2-drop. I have won a lot of games in this format by just having like a board stall and then drawing Passwall Adept and just chipping in for like 3 damage a turn, and it's surprisingly effective. It basically can like give your creatures better than flying for 3 mana, and it's just really nice. Other cards in the pack, Mephitic Vapors is a nice sideboard card. I don't think I main deck this card a lot, but it is a really nice sideboard card against certain decks. Crushing Canopy isn't really main deckable in this format, I don't think, but it is a really nice sideboard card. And Severed Strands is a card that is more of a Golgari card because they have more cards that are like value driven from the sideboard, but like from like so you can sacrifice. Like they really want to get creatures into the graveyard for Undergrowth so they can cast some of their creatures with a better curve. I'm just gonna move this over here. Okay. And yeah, so I think that the Sacrifice is more of a Golgari card, but you don't really want to run many copies of it in any deck. Another Passwall Adept here is great. It's basically just a late game all on its own, but it's also an early play. Vidalca Mesmerist is a card that I think is underrated because it is really annoying to play against. A lot of creatures just have 2 power, and so they become like basically like walls when you have a Mesmerist, so you can just attack in with other creatures. But I still think Passwall Adept is the correct pick. Here, I don't think Leapfrog is a great card in Dimir, and that's the direction it looks like we're going. And this is, just for the record, I think in this pack, Flower Flourish is a really good card. It just basically you replace a land with this, and then basically your land is a spell in the late game, so it's kind of like a cycling land in that regard. Leapfrog is mediocre. I could just take Severed Strands. I don't have any really good premium removal right now. I could also just take a Dimir Locket, but I'm just going to take the Strands for the sideboard. I just wanted to take a brief moment to talk about how the draft started. I took the Tristani Discord, and then second pick I took the Deadweight. If I had taken the Centaur Peacemaker, I feel like a lot of people get hooked into their guild, and then they waste a couple picks, and then they get lost. So I now have a Deadweight that I wouldn't have had if I had ended up in Selesnya. And as you can see, Centaur Peacemaker wheels a ton. This card always wheels for me. I don't know why, but it always does. And here I'm just going to take Disdainful Stroke. I think it's nice to have access to 1 copy of Disdainful Stroke. I could take a Golgari Guildgate. A Bats is not horrific. Undercity Necrolisc is not a card that I have played a ton of. But it is it's fine. I do like having access to 1 Disdainful Stroke. Hello, Sasquapolo. How's it going? Nice to see you. Maximize Altitude isn't really a Dimir card. I'm just going to take the Moodmark Painter. I don't think I'm going to end up playing it, though. Devious Cover-Up, however, is definitely playable, especially if you're playing in a grindy Dimir mirror match. Sometimes the games basically go to decking, and having access to this is quite nice. So I don't mind having a Devious Cover-Up. It's actually playable. Now I'm going to take an Izzet Locket. Gateway Plaza is interesting. Maybe I'd rather have Gateway Plaza for a splash. Yeah, I'm going to take Gateway Plaza. I was just considering if I want to splash a color, potentially. And now I'll take the Golgari Locket. I'm not going to play 2 Severed Strands, and Golgari Locket alongside Gateway Plaza could maybe help me splash green if I really open a great green card. But it looks like my curve is pretty solid here. I'm just going to put all of my non-creatures off to the side, because a lot of the time you're not casting these on curve. So I put them over here off to the side. Oh my goodness. Okay, Plague Crafter is an interesting one. I don't have a ton of great creatures to sacrifice. I do have some 2-drops. But Plague Crafter is basically each player sacrifices a creature, which isn't insane on its own. I think this is much better in Golgari because Golgari has the Undergrowth mechanic on one of its premier commons, which is the 4-mana card that's a 2/2 that gets a counter. So if you play a Plague Crafter and you both sack a creature, that gets you a little bit closer to playing your 4-drop as a 4/4 maybe, or maybe even a 5/5, depending on how the board state has progressed. Thought Erasure is a pretty solid card. I do like having access to it. Oh, I'll talk about the rare a little bit. You don't really have enough 1-drops in Limited to get this to work, and you don't always have enough 2-drops and 3-drops to consistently trigger it either on turn 5, and that's really when you want to be casting your 5-drops, so I don't think it's insane. I'm just going to take the Thought Erasure here. The fact that this has Surveil tacked onto it is quite nice, and I really like having access to one type of like discard spell, one counter spell, just so I can like deal with a lot of the threats. After that, I think it would be the Plague Crafter that I would take, and then I would take the Dimir Guildgate. I don't think Plague Crafter is bad or anything, but I do think that the Thought Erasure is going to be better. Here, we get to talk about Cloud Reader Citywatch Sphinx a little bit. I don't think this card is insane. I think that a lot of the time the Dimir deck can win the game anyway if it gets to the point where it can cast a 6-drop and not like have it die and just lose. I know that I just think that it is a nice win con to have a big 5-powered flyer, but I think a lot of the time the Dimir deck can stall out the game and win with Pass Wall Adepts, and that's like the better path to victory for the Dimir deck because it doesn't entail you playing a card that is really bad in your opening hand. If you mulligan and have a Citywatch Sphinx in your hand, it's going to take forever for you to get up to 6 lands and play it. Also, I want to talk about Barrier of Bones. I'm only hitting I can't talk about every card in every pack, but I'm just going to talk about the main cards that are in my colors a lot. Or if I have time, I'll talk about the other cards. But Barrier of Bones, I think, is pretty unplayable. It's just a 0/3 that doesn't really do anything to impact the board. Sometimes you can maybe side it in, but it doesn't impact the board at all, really. Decks in this format have ways to attack through 0/3s. They can win past it. Burglar Rat is a fine card, but I'm just going to take the Citywatch Sphinx. I think Burglar Rat is also a little bit overrated. People think of it as like a straight 2-for-1, but the 1/1 isn't really a quality card, so I don't think it's insane, if that makes... it's not like it's not a 2-for-1 because you do get a body and it's a card to play, and they discard a card. But it's a 2-for-1 where the extra thing you're getting is a 1/1, and a lot of times 1/1s just aren't relevant. That being said, Severed Strands gets a lot better if you have a couple Burglar Rats because then you have a free 1/1 to sacrifice. Free being like it's just a 1/1 that you happen to have lying around. Inescapable Blaze is quite nice as a finisher for red decks. I value it quite highly if I'm playing Izzet or Boros. True Fire Captain is also quite nice. Here there isn't really anything for me. I think Dazzling Lights is pretty unplayable. It's just, I like it when every card in my deck does something on its own, and Dazzling Lights just doesn't. Radical Idea is similar. Never Happened is actually a nice sideboard card for the Dimir Mirror because you can snag their Night Veil Predators before they can play them. That being said, Never Happened will probably wheel. I'm just going to speculate on the Golgari Guildgate in case I see a strong green card later that I want to splash. I already have a couple Lockets. Okie doke, so here, Artful Takedown is the clear pick out of this pack. It's the best Dimir common. Darkblade Agent is nice, but I don't have a ton of Surveil anyway, and also Artful Takedown is just great. You can usually use this to tap down their bigger guy. You can kill a creature, tap down a creature, so you can save yourself 6 points of damage with an Artful Takedown if you use it properly. It's just great removal. I don't have a ton of removal. I only have the Dead Weight right now and maybe a Severed Strands if I really need it. Darkblade Agent is nice. It's much better when you have repeatable sources of Surveil, like a Guild Mage or a Night Veil Sprite. That's where it thrives. Also, I want to note, Wishcoin Crab is definitely playable in this format. It looks very innocuous, but the 2/5 blocks basically everything. It blocks a lot of the biggest commons. It blocks the 4/4 Vigilance from Selesnya. It blocks the 4/5 Dowser of Lights that a lot of black decks have to rely on to win the game. So if Wishcoin Crab wheeled, I would have a decent likelihood of playing it. Okie doke. Now, looking at this pack, I'm going to take the Sinister Sabotage here. I do like... It's close. I think I'm going to take the Sinister Sabotage. It's a nice way to smooth your draws a little bit. It can answer any threat. I kind of like having the instant package, Disdainful Stroke, Artful Takedown. I'm not sure if I'm going to play Devious Cover-Up in the main. I would prefer not to. I think it's a bit expensive to play in the main deck because against a faster Boros deck, you're never going to be able to cast it profitably. That being said, I like Pass Wall Adept, but I think 2 is about where you can start valuing them a little bit lower after 2 because then you only really need 1 in play. You don't gain that much value from the second one. Spinal Centipede I would probably take over this Pass Wall Adept. Vidalca Mesmerist is still solid, but I'm just going to take the Sinister Sabotage. It's a bit of an upgrade over the Devious Cover-Up. Here, easy Whisper Agent for me. Whisper Agent is premium. 3 drops. It's a great way to get an instant speed surveil for the card that the agent that draws you a card if it hits them. Whispering Snitch is a fine card, but I don't think Whispering Snitch is a super high priority. It's much worse than Pass Wall Adept. I would take Pass Wall Adept over Whispering Snitch every time, I think, unless my deck had like unbelievable amounts of surveil, and then even then, I think Pass Wall Adept is just a win con on its own, and Whisper Agent, and Pass Wall Adept, Whispering Snitch just doesn't really do that. Whisper Agent is a great card here. There's also another Wishcoin Crab that might wheel. Sky Knight Legionnaire, I think, is one of the best cards for Boros. I would take this card like second out of a pack, and it's one of those cards early that I often like take early and potentially play. Like when I took the Tristani Discord, if there had been a relatively like medium pack and there was a Sky Knight Legionnaire, I could have taken the Sky Knight Legionnaire and maybe played Boros. It just really is one of the best cards in the Boros deck. Ooh, we get to talk about Muse Drake. That's fun. I don't think Muse Drake is great. I think it's just too small for the cost you put into it, and a lot of the time it just doesn't do a ton. So like it's a 4-mana 1/3, so they play their Muse Drake, get their 2 for 1, and they're left with a 1/3, and the 1/3 just doesn't really do a ton. That being said, it is the only card in our colors. We're not going to be splashing an Oakran Assassin. We're not going to be like jumping into green for these. So we will take the Muse Drake here. And I'm not saying that it's unplayably bad. It definitely is good in the Dimir mirror match specifically, or in control mirrors in general, because you get a 2 for 1, and the 1/3 can like start to chip in for damage. But against any deck that's a little bit faster, you play a Muse Drake, and they still just keep attacking you with all of their creatures because it doesn't even like kill a 2/2. This pack pretty bad for us. Doesn't have any cards that we can play, so we're just going to take the Izzet Locket in case we open a really good Izzet card. The pack, this is only pack 2, so we may not look like we have a ton of playables, but we can just play the Severed Strands. We can play a Moodmark Painter. It's not like we're in dire straits. Never Happened is a nice sideboard card to pick up. Yeah, I'm just going to take the Never Happened. I don't like Leapfrog in this deck. And yeah, I like Never Happened as a sideboard card. We're going to take the Barrier of Bones and pretty much not play it for sure. But it's a little bit worrisome. The thing is, oh my gosh, what the heck? How is this still in the pack? That's what I'd like to know. If this was like the Pro Tour or GP, I would just hate draft this card. I think I am just going to take this card, just so you can see what my draft would look like after hate drafting an Inescapable Blaze, because, I mean, I'm not playing any of those other cards, and Inescapable Blaze can just really wreck my deck. Wishcoin Crab is a nice one to pick up. It does help help me get to my late game flyers, and Vidalca Mesmerist is a fine one as well. Another Crab is nice. So those last couple picks were pretty nice. So the thing is, my deck doesn't look insane right now, but it has all of the components that I'm looking for in a Dimir deck to win matches, and that's really the most important thing. So like the deck has early blockers. It's got 4 of them right now. It's got also some Wishcoin Crabs. It's got a Night Veil Predator and a City Watch Sphinx as win conditions. It's got some interaction. It's got some counter spells. It's got a discard spell. I like having access to 1 discard spell in the main deck. It's got an Artful Takedown for removal effects. And overall, it just has a lot of the components that a successful Dimir deck is going to utilize to win. Also, I think that Muse Drake is actually worse than Wishcoin Crab in a lot of decks. So I think I would main deck the Wishcoin Crab over the Muse Drake, especially because the Passive Adept can help the Wishcoin Crab get in late game. Temple Garden, not really even a consideration. Sinister Sabotage, number 2, not a consideration. Everything falls behind this Watcher in the Mist. Watcher in the Mist is a very, very solid win condition. It basically can just, you play it on turn 5, you're pretty much guaranteed a good draw the next turn. Sometimes you can even get rid of 2 cards at once. So I'm very happy to get a Watcher in the Mist here. I honestly wouldn't mind a Dimir Guildgate in this deck, so if that wheeled, I'd be pretty happy. But this pack, other than Watcher in the Mist, isn't spectacular. I'm not going to play another Sinister Sabotage. I think I would actually just take a Passive Adept here. Also important to note, Veiled Shade is not unplayable, but I think it's pretty bad, because a lot of the time in the early game, that's when you're weakest, and Veiled Shade is pretty like miserable in the early game. I do like this card in Boros. I think Inspiring Unicorn is pretty nice as well in aggressive decks, because they kind of have to block it, so you can really utilize combat tricks. So one of the things that I like to look for in a deck is I like to have at least 3 win cons. So I have City Watch Sphinx, Watcher in the Mist, and Night Veil Predator. These are the 3 cards that can win me the game when I play them. And then I have the Pass Wall Adepts as kind of a backup thing, just giving my like 3/2s and stuff unblockable. So the other City Watch Sphinx has some appeal for sure. It's like another big flyer that can help win you the game. But it does raise my curve a pretty high amount. I don't necessarily think that I can afford to raise my curve that amount, especially because there's an Artful Takedown in the pack. Sure, if there wasn't another card in the pack, I would take the City Watch Sphinx and I would probably play it. But given the fact that I only have 2 real removal spells here, I'm definitely going to take the Artful Takedown here, try to make sure that I can get enough interactions so that I do not die before I can get my cards down. Another thing that I think that Amara is better than Conclave Guildmage. I haven't activated this 6-mana ability once. I know that it's a pretty solid ability to have, but it never comes up as much. Amara is like a really nice 2-drop that you can attack with. So if I was Selesnya, I would take the Amara pretty easily. But we're going to take the Artful Takedown here. Whoa. Expansion Explosion. So I have an Izzet Locket and a Gateway Plaza. I can't really splash double red, though. I just don't have the tools to, but maybe I'd... I'm definitely not splashing that guy. Maybe this could be a sideboard card for... Because this card just wins you the mirror match single-handedly. Lawlith Giant is another win con. I do have a medium amount of creatures. I could just take a Pitiless Gorgon. It's a fine defensive creature. It trades with anything. It does get wrecked by Vidalcan Mesmerist, by the way. I don't think I can splash this. I saw a draft that Mike Sigrist did where he splashed Expansion Explosion and he said he went through, but I think he had like 6 guild gates or something. So we're just going to take the Pitiless Gorgon here. We can't really afford to play this card. We just can't support it in our mana base. I'm a huge fan of having a consistent mana base. We're just going to take the Pitiless Gorgon. It trades with anything. It's a solid creature, and I'm pretty happy to get it. Ooh, we get to discuss Dowser of Lights a little bit. We're not taking the Gatekeeper Gargoyle because we don't have a single gate, and a 6-mana 3/3 flyer is pretty embarrassing. Here, I think we're actually just going to take the Notion Rain because it's a nice card advantage engine, and we don't have any card advantage in this deck, and this can just help us against... you do want to have like one piece of dedicated card advantage for if you face a control deck. I just want to talk about Dowser of Lights for a bit. I think Dowser of Lights is definitely a card that you can call a finisher. It's nice because it's big, so it can block really well. And it's pretty easy to cast, and combined with some Pass Wall Adepts in your deck, you can give it unblockable pretty easily in the late game, and then you just have a big beater that can kill them. I think Dowser of Lights is definitely the type of card that you can classify as one of your finishers in your deck, but I think people don't rate it as high as they should. So I'm going to take the Notion Rain, though. I just want some raw card advantage. And it looks like I'm going to be able to cut the Muse Drake, which is nice. Bartizan Bats is a card that I don't think is insane. I think that the 1 toughness is a real downside, but I think it can be playable if you need some extra ways to push through damage. I think Hired Poisoner is quite nice. It just trades with anything. And it's just a defensive 1-drop that can help you keep you from getting overrun in the early game, which is really what all Dimir decks want to do, so they can take over with their big flyers and their surveilling. I like Spinal Centipede a decent amount. But I like Spinal Centipede in decks that have less Pass Wall Adepts and more Vidalcan Mesmerists, because if you curve out Vidalcan Mesmerist into Spinal Centipede, you're in a real good spot. So I think I'm just going to take the Hired Poisoner here and have it as another cheap blocker. And now this is a pretty easy Burglar Rat. There's not really a ton to compete with it. Burglar Rat, I don't always main deck it even, because it just doesn't do a ton in a lot of matchups, but it is very, it's a solid card. It's not insane, but it's a solid card. I would probably main deck it in this deck because I am a little bit short on great playables. I think it's a little bit better than Devious Cover-Up when I have 2 other counterspells. But I have a little bit of extra time in this pack, so I'm going to talk about Weed Dragonauts for a little bit. I think that Weed Dragonauts is a good card, but it can trap you, and here's how. People see a card like Weed Dragonauts, and then they use that Weed Dragonauts to justify playing bad spells just to trigger the Weed Dragonauts, which is going to cost them more than they gain from playing a good card like Weed Dragonauts. So I think Weed Dragonauts is good, but it's a bit of a trap because you don't want to play bad spells just to enable the Weed Dragonauts. That's a little bit of a soapbox for me. Just going to take another Crab here. It's the only card in our colors. I'll just discuss some of these other cards in the pack. Collar the Culprit, I think, is a sideboard card. I think a lot of decks will have a target, but you don't necessarily just want to play it if the deck has like 1 target or 2 targets, because then it doesn't it's just a dead card in your hand in some proportion of games. But I do think you can sometimes main deck one copy, or it's a really good sideboard card. So I like having access to a copy of it. I'm pretty high on Sprouting Renewal, actually. There's a decent number of relevant enchantments and artifacts, and you can usually convoke this out for like paying 1 real mana and then tapping 2 creatures. So I think that's pretty effective. Wow, Command the Storm. Yeah, I'm not going to splash, though, I don't think. I'm just going to take the Passwall Adept. Command the Storm is tempting to splash, though, off like an Is It Locket or something. An Is It Locket plus a Gateway Plaza. But I think I have a couple removal spells already, some counter magic, so I'm just going to take the Passwall Adept. And I'm going to take... Now that I have 3 Passwall Adepts, I'm not even sure I'm going to play the third one. I can side it in for sure if I need to, but I'm just going to take the Mephitic Vapors. It's a really good sideboard card in certain matchups, and pretty happy to have access to it. Now I'll take the Guild Gate. I don't think I'm going to see any red cards worth splashing now, but I'll just take it on the off chance I do. I already have a Barrier of Bones in the sideboard that I'm not playing. Late Conclave Guild Mage. Jesus, what the hell? How is Crackling Drake still in the pack? I'm just going to take it. Another Gate. Not taking Guild Summit when I don't have gates anyway. Wow. The splash. Splash Crackling Drake. I'll take the Boros Locket. Vicious Rumors is unplayable. Just basically, you discard a card when you play this card because it doesn't impact the board at all. So you're using a card to make them discard their worst card and then minor effect. But you spent a mana. So you're both down a card, but you're down mana, which is a little bit worse in the long run. So this is not an especially powerful looking deck, but it is a deck that can win games for sure. And I think that is the it's going to be a solid deck, I think. I think it's definitely going to be able to win matches, and I think it's definitely going to be able to demonstrate the fundamental strategy you can use when you're playing with Dimir. I wonder if I don't think I was able to end up in a different color combination because it just seemed like Dimir was more open pack 1. It's weird, though. It might just be the way I evaluate cards, but Selesnya just didn't seem open pack 1. Pack 3 seemed open, but I don't really remember seeing a ton of great Izzet cards, but that's in the past. Group creatures separately. My deck is definitely quite nice. I like it a lot. I am going to cut the DV's cover up. I can side it back in against control matchups alongside a Never Happened. That's a pretty nice control package. I can side in Mephitic Vapors in, and maybe I can side in Severed Strands if I need another removal spell, and I can side in Mephitic Vapors for the aggro decks. That being said, I don't think I need 3 Wishcoin Crabs, though maybe it's better than Muse Drake still. Yeah, I think Wishcoin Crab's better than Muse Drake. The reason being is this just doesn't block their ground creatures well at all, and it doesn't really block most of the good flyers in the format. Like the big flyers are these 3 are the main flyers you're going to be dealing with a lot of the time. So it doesn't block anything. So it's like 4 mana for like a mediocre attacker. And when I say mediocre, I mean bad, because it's a bad attacker because it has 1 power. I can definitely bring in like a package where I bring in for like control matchups where I need more removal. I can bring in these 2 cards. I have a pretty decent control sideboard package where I can bring in those and take out some Passwall Adepts. But I definitely like the look of this build a lot more. This is just a pretty nice feature that's on Magic Online. You can sort by color. This is a double black card, so we're going to count it as such. Definitely still going 9-8 in favor of blue. I'm not playing any green sources because I'm just going to be using black mana to cast the Gorgon. And yeah, I think this deck is pretty solid, and I'm excited to see how it plays out. Triple Passwall Adept is definitely a nice win con in and of itself. I have a ton of defensive bodies. There are some matchups where I just don't think I can actually lose just because of the composition of my deck, which is always a good feeling, and it's a great way to get more wins because it means your deck is going to have a better arsenal, if that makes sense. Like it means you have, not arsenal is the wrong word, it means you have certain matchups where you can't lose, so you just get free wins. I'm going to keep this hand. It's not insane, but it's fine. I do want to just draw lands, but I can start off with a 1-drop. My opponent's on a mulligan to 5, and I'm going to be able to Thought Erasure him, which is quite nice. He's not going to be able to run me over, but I'm not going to be able to run him over, so he may be able to draw out of his mulligan to some degree. Also important to note, I think Hired Poisoner is a very nice card in Golgari. It's a 1-drop that's going to trade for anything, get into your graveyard for fine value. And then you can use it for Undergrowth. Undergrowth isn't an insane theme in Golgari, but it's nice to be able to play the 4-mana card from Golgari. If I don't draw a land here, I'm definitely just going to play Thought Erasure. Okay, now that I drew land, I'm going to play Whispering Snitch first. That way I get an extra point of damage against my opponent. And, yeah. I basically get to pressure him a lot more. Okay, playing against Boros. Fire Urchin is the play. Okie doke. Opponent's at 4 cards. They're going to soon be at 3 cards. I have an incredible hand against Boros. We're going to attack them with Hired Poisoner, not with Whispering Snitch. I don't mind trading this off. We can take their creature. Or their follow-up play. And if I see 3 lands, I'm not that sad. Okay. Gird for Battle is definitely a fine card. Which card am I the most afraid of here? Hammer Dropper can be blocked pretty easily. So can the Unicorn. I'm actually going to take the... I'm not worried about Gird for Battle, I don't think. I'm going to take the Inspiring Unicorn, because if they put the Gird for Battle on the Inspiring Unicorn, that's a bit scary. But I can just Artful Takedown it. And Inspiring Unicorn they can't really cast yet. I'm going to take the Hammer Dropper. Put the land on top. I do want to make sure I keep hitting my land drops. So this is their hand. I think this was a close choice, but they can't actually cast the Unicorn unless they draw on other planes. Okay, Skyline Scout, that's fine. And I can kill the Unicorn with my Artful Takedown. I'm actually not going to attack with the Poisoner, because now that I know they have a Unicorn, it's really nice to just make it difficult for the Unicorn to attack me because of my Death Toucher. So I'm just going to hold him back now that I know he doesn't have great trades into it. Okay, so this is one of the reasons I took the Inspiring Unicorn, is because now he doesn't have he can't cast it unless he drew a planes. So that's why I took it over the Hammer Dropper over the Unicorn. That was a huge reason why. Yep, my wall of creatures makes it really hard for him to attack. I'm going to keep playing lands out. I do have a card draw spell in my deck and a lot of 2-drops to draw off of that. And even some 3-drops. I can attack and make one of my guys unblockable. I think I'll do that. Get in for that extra point of damage. Could be relevant. You never know. If he attacks with Fire Urchin, I think I would trade with my Death Toucher. Okay, what's opponent up to? Going to probably attack with Skyline Scout. Give it flying. Oh, they thought that the flying was... Yeah. Sure Strike is a pretty nice draw, considering this has Trample. That was one of the reasons not to attack, but they did have to draw the Sure Strike, so I go to 13. Not the end of the world. That Pass Wall Adept was a pretty weak draw. Just going to play the other Pass Wall Adept here. keep up some blocks on the Skyline Scout. If he wants to play his Unicorn, he can't attack with the Scout. And if this is how he's spending his turn, I'm in fine shape, I think. I do think I will Artful Takedown it next turn. Just to kill the flyer. But I'll wait for him to put some mana into it. Ooh, that was a great draw. Well, that changes things. I'm just obviously just casting that. Graveyard. Graveyard. Yeah, I can't cast the Pitiless Gorgon, so there's not really a good reason to not put it in the graveyard. This forces through a point of damage. Keep in mind, opponent likely doesn't have a combat trick in their hand, because if they had, they would have attacked the Fire Urchin again last turn. So unless they drew a combat trick this turn, we know one of the cards in their hand is the Unicorn. They might have another white spell. Okay, they drew the 10th District Guard. Doesn't really help them get through for extra attacks. And now I have them on a 4-turn clock. I can kill the kill that, and then I can yeah, if I kill this, tap this, attack, definitely playing the land out, because I want to be able to double activate these next turn. If I attack for 3 here, I'm definitely attacking. I want to end the game in 4 turns. If I attack like this, I'm definitely going to attack before I do anything else. But do I want to attack with Pass Wall Adepts is the question. I can attack with 3 of these Pass Wall Adepts to force through 2 points of damage. This extra one isn't as relevant for attacking. Tap target creature. I'm going to tap the 2/4. Kill the flyer. I mean the potential flyer. Because the 3/2 can actually block that profitably. And now he's going to be at 6. I shouldn't have played my land first. I don't know. He's going to be at 6. I'm going to have... Ooh, I did the math wrong. For some reason, I thought this had 4 power. I should have attacked with Whisperings. Whispering Snitch attack is a bit risky. But I probably should have still done it. Because then they're not even dead next turn if I do that. I definitely did the math wrong. I for some reason added this up as if it had 4 power. So taking the Hammer Dropper really screwed them instead of the Unicorn, because they never found their second planes. Here I'm easily going to just block the 10th District Guard if they attack with both. Interesting. They did play the land, so they can't play Deal 6 to me. They can't go Sure Strike because they have the Unicorn in the hand. Looks like they're playing something post-combat. Okay. We know their last card in hand is the Unicorn. They can deal 2, but I'm going to hit them for 4. That just makes my flyer lethal on its own. Going to hold this land so they don't know what I have. So if I hadn't blocked there, I had lethal. But I don't want to take that extra 2 damage. So they found their planes. But if they play the Unicorn, they're dead. They're just dead here. They can't win. Boom, and we got the W against what seems like a good matchup for us, let's just say. Okay, so we saw multiple 2-powered creatures. They have the 2/2, they have the 2/1 that can gain flying, which Muse Drake does do well against. They have the Hammer Dropper, which Crab matches up well against. They have Sure Strike. They have the +1/+1 counter card. Okay, Mephitic Vapors is a consideration for sure. Dang it, for some reason I'm blanking on the third creature that they had for a lot of that game. Oh, it was the 1/3, the 1/3. Right. Mephitic Vapors kills one of their creatures, so it is a consideration, but I don't think it kills more than one of their creatures, so it's not a huge factor. I do like my Death Touch creatures in this matchup. And I don't think I need to bring in the Barrier of Bones. I have a fine number of creatures that block their guys. Muse Drake is the most likely just because it does deal with the 2/1. Though they can buff the 2/1. Disdainful Stroke seems fine. They have multiple 4-drops that I care about dealing with. I still do think I like Notion Rain. Though maybe I would rather have Muse Drake than Notion Rain. I think I'm just going to run it back. I think I have enough solid 2-drops to deal with their stuff. Keep in mind, I am going to be on the draw this game. And this is the weakness of the deck. This is a tough hand, but I'm going to keep it. This is one of the reasons why having so many 2-drops is great for the deck, because it means I have about 7 draws that are really nice here. Because if I can get a 2-drop into play, I have a vastly better odds of winning this game. Disdainful Stroke is not a 2-drop, but it will count as a 3-drop because they're likely going to play a 4-drop on turn 4 this game. They have multiple powerful 4-drops that we saw, so the odds of us being able to counter something relevant is relatively high. The Locksmith, seeing that makes me want to bring in Mephitic Vapors for game 3. It also tells me that their deck doesn't have a huge density of great creatures at the 2-drop slot, because it means they're just trying to make playables. For 2-drops, because you need to have like a certain density of 2-drops. Pastoral Adept was a fantastic draw there. Excellent draw. It just completely blanks the Locksmith. So I'm very happy to have that. Legion Warboss, eh? That's a good rare. Huh. Oh my gosh, what a draw. Okay. Some games you just have perfect draws. This has been one of them. If he casts a 4-drop here, and then I rip a Swamp to cast my Nightveil Predator, this is like the actual perfect draw. So like that was obviously a great draw. Thank you, Hamani7, for saying that. I really appreciate it. Guild Draft has been a lot of fun. Okay, so it's not a 4-drop, but I'm definitely going to bring in the Mephitic Vapors. Oh yeah, Mephitic Vapors is a shoe-in for this deck. So I am going to actually try and kill the Banner Ray, but I'm going to wait until he pumps it pre-combat, if I draw land, of course. Which I don't, but Whisper Agent is a fine substitute for a land. And my 1/3 is holding off a lot of his creatures. So what I suspect he might do is he might buff up the Goblin Banner Ray and then attack with the Banner Ray plus the Scout and give the Scout flying. And then he has a 3/2 flyer plus the Banner Ray, which is a 3/1, which will trade with my Pastoral Adept. If he does try to cast a 4-drop, I'm going to Disdainful Stroke it. Okay. I'm fine with that. I'm going to flash on my Whisper Agent, end of turn, and look for a land. Opponent seems to know that I have a counterspell. Definitely putting that in the graveyard. Burglar Rat. So Burglar Rat doesn't really do a ton on this board state. I mean, it does snipe his card potentially, but I'm much more worried about what 4-drop he could have that I could answer with Disdainful Stroke. Because if I don't counter his 4-drop, then my Disdainful Stroke is going to be useless. It's just going to be a dead card. And I am a bit mana screwed. I have a ton of spells. I just want to make sure the game doesn't end. And if all I'm doing is taking 2 damage a turn, I'm going to be in good shape. Whereas if he casts something huge, like a Cosmotronic Wave, That's not even that scary, but I'm still going to counter it. Because then my Burglar Rat can just snipe his last card. And yeah, this way I just take less damage. Pretty easy so far. So if I played the Burglar Rat first, he might have discarded the Cosmotronic Wave, but either way, now I get to take his last card, which is much more effective. Yep. It's crazy that we have 3 lands and we're still just completely... I mean, he has 6 lands, so I guess he's flooding a little bit. If his last card is the Unicorn, I'm just going to take his last card here. It's not the most mana efficient play, especially considering I have a ton of 4-drops, but getting his last card is nice. If it's the Unicorn, that would be kind of funny, because he doesn't have second white mana again. Oh, it's another Skyline Scout. Okay, good to know. So now we're all set for the late game. He can't really do a ton here against us. We can just Artful take down him to death. Looks like he's just gearing up for another Skyline Scout attack. And we can actually start getting in with our Burglar Rat or our Whisper Agent. Though probably not the Whisper Agent, because then his useless Locksmith gets to trade. Yep, we're just going to attack with the Burglar Rat. And then we are going to hold up Artful Takedown. Because then if he starts pumping a bunch of mana into his Goblin Bannerray, we can tap the Bannerray. He has no cards in hand. We can tap the Bannerray and interesting. So we're going to wait for him to pay the mana in. Tap that guy, kill this guy. I much rather not take 2 damage than risk playing the Nightveil Predator, blocking, and losing to Sure Strike. And he concedes. There was no way he was going to win this game. Okie doke. So that was our Dimir deck. Keep in mind we have no rares, just absolutely dismantling the opponent because our deck has the solid creatures it needs. Basically, Pass Wall Adept. Like, these 6 creatures make our deck so much better because against aggressive opponents, what you need to do is you need to play a creature on turn 2 that can counter their creature, and the 1/3 just does that. And Burglar Rat is obviously not a 1/3, but I mean, we have 4 1/3s that just are really good. Obviously, drawing the Deadweight was crucial that matchup. Our opponent did flood that last game and was a little bit mana screwed in game 1, but we were in a good situation to win regardless. And we did get a little bit mana screwed in game 2. But yeah, that was just textbook Dimir. That is exactly how you win games with Dimir, and opponent didn't have a good time there. Let's see who we can find in round 2 to face. Ida 8. Definitely a mulligan. We have 6 lands and a 6-drop, just doing nothing with this hand. This hand is much better. It is going to be a keep, but it is a much sketchier hand. We're going to keep any land on top. We are going to curve 2-drop into 3-drop, and we have a pretty powerful 5-drop and 6-drop, but we do need to draw some lands for that plan to come to fruition. I think our best draw here would be Notion Rain. Just having a 2-drop on turn 2 is such a good feeling. Looks like we're facing Golgari. Okay, that's not a great for us. We're going to get rid of City Watch Sphinx because it's the most expensive. Here, the Burglar Rat is basically an irrelevant creature. We're going to play our 3-drop. Here I wish I had the Mesmerist out instead of the Whispering Snitch, so that I could just be applying a bit more pressure. But it is still a fine scenario for us. Opponent does have 6 cards in hand. Okran Assassin. Okie doke. He's going to probably trade this off. We're going to play our Mesmerist pre-combat because we would rather put the counter onto the Mesmerist. Because Mesmerist is a much more fearsome attacker when it has that extra counter. Now it can also block Burglar Rat. Also, it's a 3-powered attacker, and putting all of your power onto one guy works better with Pass Wall Adept. Overall, I'm glad I played the Vedalken Mesmerist pre-combat. Mesmerist, as they say. This is the power of Mesmerist. It can still attack into the 2-2. Definitely going to attack. 3 damage is a pretty nice chunk. Then we'll play our land and our Pass Wall Adept. Hopefully draw an island next turn. Slam our Watcher. Opponent just chump blocking. That is a bit strange to me. I don't think that is necessarily the best, but I don't know what's in their hand, obviously. Maybe they're trying to make their Get-His-Own Lurcher, that's the 4-drop, black-green guy, a bit bigger. Maybe they have a similar Undergrowth card. Okay, so we did get punished, but we weren't necessarily going to draw an island anyway. And Burglar Rat sniping our last card is definitely annoying. Oh yeah, we drew that anyway. Okay. We are going to play it because we don't want to lose more cards. Okay. We're just going to make it unblockable. Because we can, and because we don't want him to have the option to chump. We have him on a 6-turn clock. We have pretty good blocks. Devkarin Dissident is a little bit scary, but it's trading 2 for 3 unless it's pumping all of his mana into it. And yeah, we're definitely in a bad shape this game. His deck is quite grindy, but we can definitely still win. The unfortunate part is that we don't have double blue, so we can't cast Nightveil Predator if we draw it. So yeah, he kills our 2-drop with his Deadly Visit because he realizes the importance of Pass Wall Adept to our plan. He mills 1 card, keeps 1 on top. Hired Poisoner. Okie doke, so now our Vedalken Mesmerist can't really attack as effectively. And I think I would like to trade it with the Devkarin Dissident if I could. Because Devkarin Dissident is going to be able to make itself into a 4-4, which is definitely an irritating situation. So if he trades here, I'm pretty fine with that. Okie doke, all is going according to plan. We don't have any more 6-drops in our deck. Do we have any? Yeah, we have a lot of ways to use the mana, though. We're going to keep playing our land. Whew. No double blue is rough. It looks like we've ground through our opponent's sources of advantage. He has 2 cards, but on our turn we're going to have 1 card, so we're only down 1 card here. Our board states are comparable. We're up 5 life. And I think we will trade Whispering Snitch for Hired Poisoner. Weird attack. We're definitely going to block the Burglar Rat. Obviously, he could follow up with a big creature that we can't really deal with, but we're going to just take the value where we can get it. Okay, Izoni 1000 died, and we lose. Tough loss this game. I mean, we can't beat that card, really. I don't think here. Just, I want to jump off a cliff right now. No, I'm just kidding. That was way too dark. Holy crud. Yeah, we're just going to pretend I didn't say that. But yeah, that would have been a nice draw last turn. Oh my gosh, why did I say that? Ah! That was bad. Okay. Don't worry, folks. I'm in a fine mental state. Oh my gosh, that rip, though. That top deck value. So good. Just so unfortunate. No! No! Yeah, we lose. There's no way we win this game. The saddest part is that we can't even cast Nightveil Predator, which would actually be decent on this board. Oh, why didn't I counter that? Oh my god. I was just not paying attention. Okay, yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, why didn't I counter that? I just was totally not paying attention. I just clicked through it. The reason I can't beat it is because it's not just a 2-3, it's a draw 4. I could have maybe done something if I hadn't let this guy resolve. I always do that when I have a counterspell in my hand in the late stages of the game. That was horrifyingly bad. I take 10 here. Man, oh my gosh. Oh yeah, I was not going to win this game anyway, but question mark ping myself. For anyone who plays League of Legends, they know what the question mark ping is. Okay, so we are going to bring in our anti-control package. In case you are wondering what that is, it is where we take out some of our 2-drops that are a little bit worse in the matchup. So Vidalca Mesmerist gets a little bit worse when we're going to be grinding very hard against the opponent. We're going to bring in Devious Cover-Up. Going to bring in Never Happened. 2/3s are the darkest of creatures. Mephitic Vapors. Severed Strands. Muse Drake. I think these are all of our best cards for the control mirror. I mean, for the control match. That was just a kind of grindy game where our opponent had the Izoni basically to be the mirror breaker. We need a little. We don't need as many 2-drops, so we're going to cut the Whispering Snitch and 1 Passwall Adept to facilitate some of these changes. Hired Poisoner is worse than a Passwall Adept, I think. Actually, Hired Poisoner is quite nice against some of his bigger guys. We are going to cut a Wishcoin Crab because he's not as aggressive. Maybe we just cut 2 Wishcoin Crabs and don't bring in Mephitic Vapors. Yeah, that seems better. I like this sideboard plan. We have a lot more answers to deal with his stuff. We are going to keep this hand. Given the fact that he has many Burglar Rats, keeping your 7-card hand is very nice. We can just discard some of these excess lands as the game progresses. So 5 lands, 2 spells isn't as bad as it might look. I could have considered going on the draw this game. Okie doke. A Hired Poisoner hits the battlefield. Opponent was playing as if they had a big top-end guy. I was worried it was going to be the Lurcher, the 4-drop that he did play. Land, and I am just going to deadweight this, because otherwise I just can't really block it that efficiently, really. And he doesn't have a ton of, like, creatures that I care as much about, and I want to use my mana on this turn, because I have a 3-drop and a 4-drop. Okay, so I get punished for killing the Hired Poisoner because Burglar Rat is a great answer to it. Such is life sometimes, though. The Death Touch is annoying. It was only a 1-for-1 trade after all. Hitchclaw Recluse. That's actually a smart sideboard card if he sided that in, because he just knows how the matchup works, I guess. I guess he assumes I have more Watcher in the Mists than I do. Generous Stray, not a card I love, but it's dominating my Burglar Rat right now. I think Generous Stray is a bit on the weaker side, but I have seen it do pretty good work, so. Kadoke. If he does attack me, I can attack him back. I would like to save my counter for Izoni, but I'm not that worried because I do have 2 other counter spells for Izoni. So I'm actually going to just snap this off if he plays a 4-drop. Because I want to Surveil into a spell. You got me. The lethal threat. So Rhizome Lurcher is going to be a 4/4, so I'm just going to kill that with my Artful Takedown. Because my removal can deal with this Rhizome Lurcher, but if he has a second one, I can't deal with that with my counter. Okay, good draw. Combat, hit him for 1. Play my Nightveil Predator, and then I'll have my counterspell up for the rest of the game, presumably. Going to keep this extra land in hand so I don't get wrecked by Burglar Rat. I didn't really need to play that land, but if I draw my City Watch Sphinx, I would like to play it. Okay, so the only combat trick I know about is Might of the Masses. Definitely going to hold that in hand. Have opponent on a bit of a clock here, which is nice. And I have this counter spell to keep my guys safe. Because I was only making 3 guys, it would be a bit of a catastrophe. It looks like the opponent had the second forest, but chose not to play it. Yeah. I am still just going to counter his 6-drop. He could have Izoni, but I don't know that, and I just don't want to have him have a 6/4 in play. Izoni doesn't necessarily even lose me the game. I can definitely still beat it. Nice draw there. I obviously hope he doesn't have Izoni, but if he plays this, gives his creature +4/+4, and then has a 6/4 that I can't really race with based on my hand, that's just not going to end well. And I don't even know that he has the Izoni. I mean, it's looking like he has the Izoni because he didn't play anything for a lot of turns. And there's the Izoni. If now that my 1/1 is effectively blanked, though, I might be able to get a freebie onto the Generous Stray. Yep. Freebie. Nice. I've attacked into Whisper Agent so many times. Topping that. That was a pretty nice card to keep on top. Graveyard. Graveyard. I don't really want to be looking at his hand. I just want to be casting spells that affect the board. That's a nice draw. Keep in mind that if opponent is spending their time sacking their creatures, they are gaining some life back. So my threat is a little bit neutralized in that regard. I could have attacked with Whisper Agent there, maybe. That might have been smart. Kill a couple of their insects. Oh, that's really bad for me. Yikers, that's horrific for me. Not only did they find another forest so they can sacrifice more creatures, but this guy can gain life. So they can out-life gain my Nightveil Predator now, to some degree. No attack. Whiff there was rough. I am going to attack with the 3/2 this turn. If he trades the Izoni, I'm happy. If he trades the Guildmage, I'm happy. If he trades 2 insects, I'm actually pretty happy. Interesting. Just doing no trading whatsoever. If I'd hit a spell there, specifically one of my flyers, I think I would have actually had a chance there. This is 8, 9, 10, 11. I can still double block the Izoni here if he gives all his creatures menace. Sending in the Swarm Guildmage. Okay, so he is going to give his creatures menace, it looks like. Which is pretty aggressive. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh. Opponent has Might of the Masses. That makes a lot more sense now. Yeah, I'm just dead maybe. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this double block will save me from the Might of the Masses kill. So maybe they just didn't do their math properly. That was a little bit lucky for me, I guess. It looks like I'm going to win this game because of that play. But I was in decent shape anyway. He could have gained 2 life and sacked a creature to make up for this guy. I don't think he was supposed to just take that hit. Okay. So the Izoni is dead. Obviously, he could just have another creature in his hand and I lose, but this gives me the highest chance of not dying. Oh, and he concedes. Okie doke. That is what I like to see. The opponent definitely made a mistake there, and I was able to punish. Mephitic Vapors is going to come in. It's one of my best answers to the Izoni after it resolves, and it just seems like a smarter card to play. Wishcoin Crab might be worth playing. I do have one, though. I'm going to take out the Severed Strands for the Mephitic Vapors. I don't have as many expendable creatures, I mean. Okie doke, this is a solid hand, definitely a keep. Opponent is on a mulligan. I have a couple of 2-drops, one even gets me some card advantage. Opponent is on the play, which is nice for me, I think. And they're starting things off with a Golgari Guildgate. Great draw for me. I like getting lands in this situation. I also really like that the Mephitic Vapors protects me from the Izoni, so I don't have to be as careful with my devious cover-up. Because if they do resolve an Izoni, I am still in fine shape. Okie doke, I will lead with my Pass Wall Adept. You don't want to take free damage for no reason. There is an argument after drawing the Deadweight for playing Burglar Rat, simply because then next turn I can go Pass Wall Adept plus Deadweight. But I'd rather save my Deadweight for a Guild Mage, now that I know he has it. And the Generous Stray, not doing a ton here. Just not a huge impact on the board. That's why I don't like the card all that much. Opponent still has 4 cards in hand. We are going to Thought Erasure them. Try and take away one of their better plays. Also help find us a land. Okay, so we have an answer to the Swarm Guild Mage. We don't care about Assassin's Trophy. We're just going to take the Deadly Visit, because that's just a straight removal spell. If we play Swarm Guild Mage, we can deadweight it. We'll save our deadweight for that. Assassin's Trophy will kill any of our creatures, but we don't have any super impactful permanents. And we know he has another land in his hand. Put that in the graveyard. Definitely still just looking for a land here. Plays that. Plays the Guild Mage. Yep. Chipping in for that damage. I am a bit mana screwed, so the Assassin's Trophy actually helps me out a ton. Ooh, okay. We are in business. If I draw a swamp here, I think I just win the game on the spot. Well, it wasn't a swamp, but we get to Burglar Rat him. Get his last card out of his hand. And then we can Deadweight plus Pass Wall Adept and be in fine shape. So this has really worked out. We are going to take 5 damage here. Maybe even more if he draws a land to pump this guy. So we're going to take between 5 and 7 damage. So we're going to take 7. We're going to go to 12. But it's not even a huge deal, because we're going to be able to Pass Wall Adept, kill one of his guys, probably the Dissident at this point, and then we can Artful take down this guy the turn after. And if he does draw Izoni, we have our Mephitic Vapors as an answer. I might even just block this guy to soak up the damage. That doesn't seem smart. I'll just save it. Whoa, he didn't pump. Pass Wall Adept. Dead weight on this guy. So I saved 2 points of life by him not pumping his Dissident. Maybe that was an accident. I am still a bit mana screwed. If I don't find another land soon, I could be in trouble. Okay, if he wants to pump, I'll take it. Okay, that's fine. I take 4. As soon as I draw a land, I am in the clear. Okie doke. Here we're going to use a pretty cool trick. We can hold up the Devious Cover-Up, which will protect us from a strong play from his side of the battlefield. And if he goes to combat, we can double block the Dissident, force him to spend all of his mana, and still kill the creature. And if he wants to cast something, we can just use our takedown in response. So it looks like he has a strong play to cast, or he's just pumping. Oh gosh, he misclicked and ended up doing nothing. Okay, well, we did have the outplay, but we're just going to hold this land in our hand. It doesn't help us cast any of our stuff, and we want to have an answer to a Burglar Rat. He just didn't use his activation on accident, but we were going to kill his guy in response anyway. But instead, we just got to trade our Burglar Rat for his guy. Okay, this is exactly why we held this land in hand. Sure. We're not really going to care about the Generous Strays. Muse Drake. Not really a strong card here. He can hit us for 1 a turn, but we're just going to wait to draw more lands. We could even consider using an Artful Takedown. Maybe discarding the land was super greedy and unnecessary. Keep our pass wallet up around. If he does have the Izoni, we can kill all the guys with our Mephitic Vapors, but he can't cast Izoni this turn. We're just going to keep on trucking. He has 1 card in hand. We have a Devious Cover-Up. We will eventually just draw a couple lands and be able to do some stuff. Okay. This is looking grim. I think we're eventually just going to have to play this Muse Drake and hope he doesn't have it. Yeah, the Muse Drake is going to have to be a play that we make. Especially if we don't find a land here. Oh, man, that's kicking me while I'm down, as they say. Oh, man, because now he can just cast his Izoni, which he probably has. He's halfway through his deck. He's going to get how many 1/1s? 1, 2, 3. Just the ability is really annoying. Or maybe he doesn't have it. Izoni? Child of Night. We're just going to cast our 6-drop. Hope to find another swamp so we can go with our Mephitic Vapors. But he doesn't have like a Izoni in hand, it looks like. And now that we have the board really stable, we can hold up Devious Cover up the rest of the game. Yeah, there we go. Let's see what he's working with. Whoa, that's what he's setting up. Jesus. He's trying to use this to kill all my guys. Holy damn. Why didn't he do that last turn? Okay, that was clutch. Yeah. He's on a 4-turn clock. Can't really attack us. Plays the swamp that I know about. Just gonna kill the Child of Night. Wow. We're gonna go top, but we would rather draw the Nightveil Predator first because we can cast that and still hold up our counter magic. But yeah, and also we had to make sure we attacked before we played the Mephitic Vapors. But yeah, that was a bullet we dodged. I'm glad we took the risk on the Muse Drake. And we've locked this game up. There's no card my opponent could possibly have to beat me now. We have a counterspell. We have a Death Touch blocker. We locked it up. Possible I was being a little bit too afraid with my counterspell, but I thought I could just draw some lands and be able to permanently have him on lock. Oh, well, I didn't have time to advertise my YouTube channel. I like to do that sometimes if the guy's been talking in the chat a little bit. But a pretty nice win there. This is our deck for anyone who's curious. We're in the finals now. Whew. Our deck is looking great. I liked our sideboard changes. That never happened was crucial. Also, the Devious Cover-Up made us lock up the game for sure. Whew. This is the exact type of Dimir deck you want to be playing. And I've been trying to talk through my plays a lot more in this video, so hopefully that's helpful, because I think I have been a little bit slacking in terms of like talking through every single play, every single decision. And I think talking through my plays makes me play better. I think I've been playing these games pretty well. Also, as you can see from that match, like if my opponent had had a real creature on the board, the Muse Drake would have done nothing to block it. Like, just imagine if he had like a 3/3 or something instead of a bunch of 1/2s. But man, if he'd cast the -4/-4 and killed my Sphinx and the whole board, maybe he just didn't have a path to victory after that. Ooh, I was paired, and then immediately my opponent dodged. The fear. The opponent can sense that my rareless deck is coming for him. It's going to destroy him. Bum 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 bum. Charge. Whew. Pretty nice. Not dropping any frames or anything, and my audio is still working. I always tend to I've messed up my audio several times. OGC. I would like to play first. I will keep this hand. This is a phenomenal hand, as a matter of fact. Who? Opponent is also 2-0. We will initiate the dialogue. Good luck. And then we casually add, you're going to need it. Oh, opponent never responded to our good luck. What a villain. The true hero of this tale, fighting with Honor and Nightveil Predators. Honor and Nightveil Predator don't go in the same sentence. Ooh, a Boros opponent. This should be a massacre. We are going to crush this guy. We're going to go with the Thought Erasure here, just so we can help find our lands. Pretty much the Surveil is the reason we're doing this. Oh my gosh. Holy Jesus. Ooh, he said Ditto. I like this guy. Okay, so we don't care about Swathcutter Giant. That's never going to come down. Boros is so easy for us. Swathcutter Giant we don't care about. We don't care about his removal because our guy doesn't care about removal. We're just going to take the Sky Knight Legionnaire. Put that into the graveyard. This is our opponent's hand. And like the Swathcutter Giant would be annoying, but like he's never going to get to 6 mana in this matchup. We're just going to kill him with Nightveil. We just need to draw a land this next turn. There's a Plains. Him not having a 2-drop is great. Land. Opponent making me sweat it. Drum roll, please. Yes! Heart of the cards, baby. Never doubted it for a second. Definitely going to play the Whisper Agent on his end of turn because we don't want him to have an opportunity to Luminous Bonds it. Maybe he'll Luminous Bonds our 1/1. If there's an island on top. Ooh, we get to eat Tajik. Ooh, hello, Tajik. Have you met my good friend Whisper Agent? He is an agent in the Dimir Guild that you don't really trust that much. Managing to snipe the Tajik is quite nice. Putting that guy into the graveyard. And yes, I would like to block Tajik. Tajik. Blade of the Legion's Edge. Then we're going to draw island with our like 1 in 8 odds. No, like 1 in 3 odds or something. We have like 8 islands in the deck. It's like 1 in 9 or something. Obviously, I would have rather traded with my 1/1, but he might not have done the same thing if I had had the 1/1 up. Island. And an acceptable replacement. We're Death Touch Tribal here on the stream. He'll probably Luminous Bonds this guy. The real key is that we're getting him into striking distance for our Nightveil Predator. Sunhome Stalwart. Crabe. Okie doke. So things are not going according to plan. We missed 2 land drops. And our opponent hasn't missed one yet. So he's going to kill us with the Swathcutter Giant. Command the Storm on my Gorgon. Island. Heck yeah. Artful Takedown can actually tap the Giant for a turn, which is pretty huge. Lets us get in that one crucial attack. He's going to command the Storm my 2/2. Whoa. See, the Passwall Adept is so good, making him, like, forcing him to do that. Oh my gosh. Of course he hits every single land drop. Yep, Swathcutter. Of course. Of course. Wow, I can't believe that actually worked out for him. Tap this guy, kill this guy. Goblin Banneret. So I can get him down to 10 here. Play my grab, trade it with the Banneret. Have him on a 4-turn clock. Dang it, this guy trading with this guy's annoying. He has me on a 4-turn clock as well. Pumping this guy a bunch of times, yep. Definitely willing to trade the crab for it, though. So I'm going to take 4 hits to die. He's going to take 4 hits to die. Definitely trading the crab off here. I think I like my spot here. I have a lot of draws that just 2-turn clock now, I guess. Of course, that's the most horrific possible draw in my entire deck. Oh my god. Not going to race now, I'm just going to trade. This is still fine for me. Unless he drew Sure Strike. That's a good draw. Get rid of his last card. Probably a land, but maybe it's a combat trick that he couldn't use effectively there. Boom, Righteous Blow. That's actually a card. And we have the Crab. So we are definitely favored here. Gotta know when to switch from offense to defense with your Night Veil Predator. What the hell? No! You monster. Our Wishcoin Crab shuts it down. We're still in good shape. We have both of our flyers left. Our big flyers. We have lots of good stuff to draw. We only get hit for one. City Watch Sphinx? Notion Rain? Who told you the heart of the cards don't exist? Whoever that was. Ha ha, yes! The rip of the century! Oh yes. Whoo, baby. 1 in 22 equals 100%, baby. Let's go. Ha ha. The advantage is mine. He concedes. Oh, the vicious. Oh, goodness. He did the thing where you click to see the extra cards. Oh, God. That was a vicious top deck. Just complete viciousness. This kills the draw. The draw was so good. So good. Okay, the only card we could kind of want. We could want Severed Strands or Mephitic Vapors. We don't really want any of these other cards. I think Mephitic Vapors is going to come in. He tends to have a lot of creatures that it can kill. He didn't look like he had a ton of them, but it usually can kill quite a few. I like Crab. What looks bad in the matchup? Actually, I don't really want to change anything. My deck is so perfectly configured to beat him. I have 3 crabs in the main deck. Ooh, this is a fine hand. This is a fine hand. Has all the lands we need. We can Whisper Agent and get rid of extra lands. It's not like the greatest hand, but we have a lot of 2-drops to draw as well. Hand just got a lot worse. A lot worse. Opponent's deck doesn't look like it has an absurd number of 2-drops. Centipede is kind of meh. I mean, it's just an early creature. Early creatures are the key. The hand got a lot worse drawing a land, I will say. If he plays the first striker, I'm in a bit of trouble. Or that guy. Mephitic Vapors would be nice. Definitely will side that in now that I know he has another target. Probably should have assumed he has another target, but like I'm pretty good against 2/1s in general with 3 Pass Wall Adepts and a Whispering Snitch. Ooh, that was a good draw. Get to see what's going on a little bit. Get rid of his curve. Ooh, nice. So he's missing lands. He has Swath Cutter, Legionnaire, Guild Mage. I'm just going to take the Legionnaire. Put that in the graveyard, bud. I can trade this Whisper Agent with the Legion Guild Mage. But if he draws a land, which this guy seems apt to do. Yeah, I don't mind him playing the Legion Guild Mage here. Okey-doke. Looks like he whiffed on land. I'm flooded completely. Will represent a counterspell. Maybe he will forget that I have Whisper Agent. Smart play, not attacking into it. Still going to play the Whisper Agent, obviously. Put that on top. That's what we're looking for. We will kill the Legion Guild Mage, tap the Fresh-Faced Recruit. He has another one. Tap the Fresh Face Recruit. Kill the Sky Knight Legionnaire. Hopefully we draw a 1-3 at some point. That would be ideal. We know exactly what's in his hand. He doesn't have great attacks. He can hit us for 2, but that's like not the best. I guess he can hit us for 3 if he spends all his mana. Definitely going to counter the Parhelion Patrol. We're a little bit weak to flyers. Rips another land. Unfortunate for me. Definitely unfortunate. He even gets another 1-1 out of the deal. I think we're definitely favored in this matchup, but we just have been drawing pretty poorly. Also, we should have sided in with Mephitic Vapors 100%. I think we even saw the Hasda Marshal. And this guy's going to start pinging us. We need to find another Artful Takedown. That's a fine start. A fine start. Okay, I'm glad he didn't find a, I guess my Legion Guildmate, the Legion Guildmate is going to screw me. Yeah, we're dead this game. Tap end of turn, tap on his turn, attack. I can block there. I take 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Okay, Vapors in. Severed Strands in. Notion Rain out. Mesmerist out. Might seem weird to side out a 2-drop, but it doesn't really block very well. It trades with his 1/1s, and we're keeping this hand, but it's really weak. This is the hand that we could lose on. I think it's better than mulliganing, though. Opponent's on a mulligan. Interesting. We have 5 lands, which is basically our mana cap. We don't really have a super expensive deck. And we don't have a ton of card advantage, but drawing a 1/3 would be nice now. Oh god. These hands can definitely come together, though. If I just draw spells for the rest of the game, which isn't that unreasonable, I need to draw a spell next turn, surveil into a spell. Oh dear. I'm going to get a bit greedy here. I'm just going to go for the Whisper Agent play. Heck yeah, greed is always rewarded. And now I can untap Mephitic Vapors. Kill 2 of his creatures. He's mana screwed once again. I don't really want a Burglar Rat. Maybe I do. He's mana screwed. It's a guaranteed spell. Graveyard top. Now I have my win con established. Next turn I can double spell. Tajik. Opponent's going to be discarding a real spell here, which is nice for me. And then my City Watch Sphinx can close out the game in 4 hits. Actually, I'm going to start attacking with my 3/2s here, put some pressure on him so his Guild Mage can't just constantly tap my guys. Okay. Tajik can attack me, I don't mind. You could have +2/+2. Yep, that's not the end of the world, though. Gonna put the counter on the agent. Because now I can swing in with the agent for 4. Put him on a 3-turn clock for my City Watch Sphinx. That is unfortunate. Not gonna jump. Yes, that was a good draw. I'm going to kill this thing and tap this thing. That doesn't make sense. I want to leave the Sky Knight Legionnaire alive, I think, because I can race it. I want to kill the Legion Guild Mage. No, I want to kill Tajik. If I draw a big spell this turn, I can definitely win. Right here. Yes. He didn't attack with Sky Knight Legionnaire. Seems like a bit of a mistake. Nightveil Predator would win me the game here. If you're wondering why I didn't kill this on my turn, it was so that I could potentially force him to trade off both his creatures. Like I put the -2/-2 on the Guild Mage. That was why. He just takes it. Jesus. Crazy game. Ah! Not killing the Sky Knight Legionnaire could cost me. Big draw here. Ooh. Crab's not bad. It's not great, but it's a lethal threat. Oh my gosh. The way this math is working out, it feels like his last card is like the Pack Beast. Oh my gosh. Big draw. Ooh, another crab. Yes! The crabs! The crabs! The crabs! Yes! The crabs! Go, go, go! Crabs! Crabs! Oh my gosh. He probably has the 6-drop in his hand. Yes! We got there with the crabs! The wish coin crabs! Oh my gosh! What a match! Crab beatdown! When your opponent is at 2 life, nothing can stop the crabs. Oh my gosh. Crabs is also, I think, an STD, but we're going to talk about the wish coin crabs. What wishes? Okay, J-Lil. We could go there, or we could talk about the glory of Wishcoin Crab. What wishes do they grant? Mostly pinching related ones, and also destroying Boros related ones. Let's go. Anyway, that is going to do it for this draft video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, and you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to click that thumbs up and subscribe to get updates whenever I post new content. Also, let me know if you enjoyed like more an analytical approach. I definitely have been slacking on that, I think. And remember to click that thumbs up if you want to see me force a non-standard guild in Guilds of Ravnica. Remember, the goal is 75 thumbs up to see me force maybe Azorius. Let me see if I can name them all. Gruul, Simic, Orzhov, and what's the last one? And Rakdos. There we go. Thanks, J-Lil. Okie doke. But yeah, that is going to do it. If you have any questions about the draft or the gameplay, be sure to leave them in the comments section down below, and I will gladly respond with my thoughts or answers. If you would like to catch me streaming live, you can find me on twitch.tv/NicolaiBolas. There will be a link to that in the description down below. And as always, remember to subscribe. But that is going to do it for this draft video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you next time.